This is a termination case.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I didn't think I needed an attorney, and so I'm not up on, it's a request to have, a 30-day termination and have my home back.
Right, but
So I'm not up on the lingo that an attorney would have for you. And I submitted some paperwork at my statement about what's been happening.
okay. So let me ask a few questions. Is there a lease?
No, sir.
There's no lease. Okay.
There's no lease. It was a verbal agreement. However, there was an ad that I included that they were aware of, and I gave them a lease, but it was never signed, and so we just went on a verbal.
Okay.
Between month to month, and they were given notice back in December that I wanted them to leave. It was initially supposed to be temporary anyhow. Covering all expenses except for their.
Okay. I understand that. All right. What do you have to say about this?
So, Your Honor, when we moved in, actually, we were gardening for her. So, what she
Your
says,
what?
I didn't know she was renting a room. I had discussed with her when we were working for her. I've worked for Miss King since me and my husband worked for her on and off since June of last year. But when I had my son in December and I was in the hospital, she started having issues with my partner, and she never once stated she wanted me out. She kept going back and forth. She has 1 minute said she wanted me to go, the next minute said she didn't. 1 minute she wanted me to go, next minute she didn't. This woman has used her key to come in and out. She has assaulted me. She has thrown my belongings. She is really, honestly, to be honest with you, I've never gone through such a traumatic situation with somebody I didn't know, to be honest with you. Because I was working for Miss King, it's been a little difficult moving. Trying to find out this whole month, I've literally been trying to get out. I don't actually want to be near her.
Let me stop you. Let me ask you this, because there are certain things that have to occur. Your answer that you filed indicates, well, for asking you, what day did you give the notice to the tenants that they had 30-day notice?
Well, Your Honor, if you can see, again, I had some paperwork. The fourth page shows my, on December 11th, I messaged both of them.
Well, that's not my question. My question is, in order to invoke the jurisdiction of the court to handle this, I have to have a valid notice.
Okay, well,
And
so I formally filed notice in March after Aaron begged me not to. Because
okay. I don't care what Aaron said. I don't care what anybody said. I'm asking you a specific question.
So emailing them both and giving them verbal notice that they.
Ma'am. Listen very closely to me.
Okay.
There's a document that you have to file called a notice to quit. And the one that I have, or notice to quit to recover possession of property. Mm-hmm. The one that I have in the file indicates that you served it on them, that you delivered it personally to them on March March 1st of 2024. Is that true?
Yeah, that was after asking them to leave. Yes, I did that then. And Sarah has never worked for me, has never been employed with me.
Okay, I really don't.
Okay.
I mean, I don't mean to be crass, but I don't care. I'm asking a very specific question.
Okay, that was the only formal filing I did, yes, in March.
The notice to quit to recover possession of the premises indicates here that you served that to them on March 1st.
Correct.
You're indicating that you didn't get it until March 18th.
Yes, me personally. She and I discussed me staying, and on the 18th, when she assaulted me, that's when she told me and gave me this paper to leave. I noticed to quit.
Is that correct, ma'am?
No. It is not correct.
So you delivered it to her on March 1st?
Yes, and her husband.
Okay.
They're both aware of it. In fact,
Well, whether or not they're aware of it or not,
Mhm.
I'm asking about the notice.
Yes, they were both given notice on that day. Yep.
All right. So at the top, on the copy I have,
Mhm.
there's a date under paragraph 2 that says you must move by, and it's scratched out, and then a new date is put on there. When was that new date put on there?
It was put on.
Rent, when it is paid, is monthly. Is that correct?
Weekly, $180 a week.
Do you agree with that, ma'am?
You know, I was trying to help them and I let them tell me what would work for them. And that was what Aaron suggested.
Okay, so let me try this.
Paying weekly, which has not happened since December. And that's because the police were out.
Okay, you guys let me know when you're done, and then I'll ask my question.
Okay, so you don't want me to say.
Was the rent supposed to be paid monthly, but you allowed her to pay it weekly? Or was the rental agreement weekly?
My normal thing would have been monthly, but they asked to pay it weekly. And I let them determine both their rent amount and how they wanted to do it because it was supposed to be temporary. They were being evicted and homeless. And so I just let them have the room and said, what would work? What can you afford until, you find another place?
Okay. Let me just try it again. Were you renting this out weekly to them, or were you renting it out monthly to them?
I agreed to them weekly.
So it was
That's what they asked for.
So it was a weekly rental,
Yes.
and you would agree with that?
To be honest with you, I don't know. Miss King is very confusing. And that is, I never had a conversation with her. My partner did. She never spoke to me. I was under the impression that it was monthly. The reason why we were paying weekly was because she was having him work for her and taking some off for the work that he did during the week for her. So that's why we paid weekly, because she would take off what amount he did for her. What amount of work he did for her, I'm sorry. It was
Is
confusing.
that true, ma'am?
Most of the, I asked them, most of the money went back to pay for, the reason they were there originally was because I needed someone to do my lawn.
Okay,
And so the rent would go back to Aaron to pay for him doing the lawn and some lawn care. Sarah was never received any money, but most of the rent went back. And that's what I use that rent for, is to pay for my yard, because I'm ill and I can no longer do it myself. So he would pay me, and then I would use the money to pay him for any work he did. And that stopped in December.
so hold it. And you would pay him weekly,
Yes.
but the tenancy. Okay, I'm going to tell you what I'm hearing. What I'm hearing is that it really was a monthly tenancy, but that the reason you were getting the monies weekly is because that's how you paid him. And then you would deduct out, well, he would do work. You would be paying him for that work weekly, and then keeping whatever portion, and that would go to rent.
Well, Your Honor, this is the first time I've ever done that, but that was what he asked me to do. And so.
Okay. Doesn't really matter if it's the first time, 100th time. I'm just trying to figure out what this tenancy was. So again, let me explain what I'm hearing. What I'm hearing is Aaron worked for you. There was an agreed upon, whatever it was, amount of rent, whatever that was, that would have, had he worked someplace else, been paid to you monthly, right? But it wasn't paid monthly only because he worked for you. You would pay him for that work that was done. The rest you would retain for rent. Is that, am I correct? Because that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I don't, I don't know what to tell you. I just did what they asked me to do. I was trying to help. And so, yeah, he would pay me. He asked to pay weekly, not because of me, but because that's what worked for him. He got paid each week. And I think it was a drug addiction problem, and he wanted to keep things pretty tight. So he gave me the money, and then the next week I would use that money to pay him for any work he did the following week. And we had a verbal agreement that it was month to month, and that either one of us.
Okay,
And
then I'm done. I'm done. Because, and well, everybody didn't want to answer my question. I'm trying to figure out what the length of the tenancy is. There's a difference as to what has to happen if it's a week-to-week tenancy or whether a month-to-month. When you first got here, ma'am, you told me it was a month-to-month, which typically most rental situations are. But then there's this payment weekly.
Yeah.
But why does this weekly payment occur? Is it because they're renting weekly? No, they're renting monthly. The payment weekly only happens because that's how he's getting paid by you. And then you can pay him and then retain whatever there was for the rent. So really they were paying on their tenancy was for a month. It just got paid in these increments because of the work that was happening.